she's never been as lucky as when she had his hand. Surround a game and congratulate the fights. Around the land we celebrate the night. Lady Luck was a lucky girl to have such a night, rolling all her dice. Grab a hand and have a little twirl, because tonight this dance goes out to you. Lady Luck was a lucky girl to have such a night, rolling all her dice. Grab a hand and have a little twirl, because tonight this dance goes out to you. I swear I've never been as lucky as when he had my back. Surround the game and congratulate the fights. Around the land we celebrate the night. Lady Luck was a lucky girl to have such a night, rolling all her dice. Grab a hand and have a little twirl, because tonight this dance goes out to you. Lady Luck was a lucky girl to have such a night, rolling all her dice. Grab a hand and have a little twirl, because tonight this dance goes out to you. Lady Luck was a lucky girl to have such a night, rolling all her dice. Grab a hand and have a little twirl, because tonight this dance goes out to you.
So I just wanted to prove that I could also go higher than Doxy.
Alright, okay, with that sass, we're live. Hello. We just had to play.
We're fighting, chat.
Yeah.
Not me and you, but all of us.
We're in a fight.
Who threw a stone at me? Yeah, just wanted to play Gilwyn's song tonight. First, because that seems appropriate. But hey, everyone, how's it going?
Good.
Thank you.
My
We
throat
have-
is funky.
We have no Ian today because he died.
Oh my god.
Ian didn't. We have no night today.
We have no Night today because Night died. Yeah, well, read between the lines, lady. Alright. Well, I don't see any reason not to go right into it. We ended off last week's stream. Well, what happened in last week's stream? Well, you continued to trek through the Giant's Fort and recovered the Wand of Borogon, involving a plan to change the water pressure, all of that. Fighting monsters along the way. When you took the wand, the island started to rise. The castle started to rise to be an island, and all the water started rushing out at the same time that the castle's undead giant protectors started to try to deal with the menace that's come in to steal from hallowed ground. It was an incredibly difficult fight. The three of you barely escaped with your lives, and Knight sadly perished, and his body was swept out to sea. We start today's session several hours later, after Knight was killed, with Vale and Gilwyn still very injured but conscious, struggling. We literally ended off the last session with you guys just kind of looking out to sea, standing outside of the castle where it's on a little rocky raised island right now. Trying to decide what to do next.
You say it was several hours.
Oh,
later.
you're right, yeah. Dean and Neil are the wrong way around. Puh.
The funny thing is that this, like, Ollie had the longest prep time he's ever had. I suppose Dean was a little bit later, but, you know.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I did it on both cameras as well. Which either means it's actually Dean's fault.
It is my
or
fault.
I'm stupid.
Oh,
Good.
no, don't say that, Dean.
No, it is because my Zoom swapped my place with yours because it took me out.
I mean, the easiest way to fix it is for Neil to hang up and rejoin.
We fixed it.
No,
son.
I've already fixed it. The easiest way to
Alright.
fix it is to just use my hands.
Alright.
What
So,
now, party?
in those couple of hours,
Mhm.
Indira would have immediately gone and retrieved Knight's body. She would have done that before she took time to recover. She would have just gone down there.
While they were unconscious?
Yeah, while they were resting on the ship.
They were resting in the castle last we
Okay,
stopped.
while they were resting in the castle, whatever.
Well, you
like-
you grabbed them, recovered them while they were unconscious in the castle, right?
Mhm.
Remember?
And then we were in that little hidden tunnel thing.
Yeah. That's basically
then-
where we continue now. So now
Well,
you'd want to
we did
go.
more stuff after that, though. We went and we looked around and we found
Yeah,
Knight's-
like
some
10
of Knight's stuff.
10 to 30 minutes of looking around, yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't gone back to the ship yet. If you
Okay.
want to send them back to the ship and while you look for Knight's body, okay.
No, I would want to accompany them back to the ship because I'm in the best shape right now. So I'd be like, you guys stay here. I'm gonna go get Knight.
Okay. You can dive into the waters. You can swim. You can breathe underwater. You do need to give me an investigation check to find him.
Okay.
Now, Gilwyn has cast locate object, I believe.
On
So
his
you-
rapier, yeah.
You know the direction, so it's really just how much time it'll take is what this check's for.
Okay.
It takes you not very long at all, trusting Gilwyn's magic when he told you. You swim down to the bottom of the sea here, which is very much disturbed. You know, there's a sand blowing through the water from the castle rising and knocking all of this stuff up into the current. Down at the bottom where there's sand and a little bit of coral and stuff, you can find Knight's body. Not in the best condition just because of how he died. With the wand just speared into the sand beside him. He's just kind of resting there. There's a couple of crabs that seem to be sort of crawling around the area with interest.
And do I find his weapon too? Because I would want his weapon. Okay.
Yeah, all his stuff was still basically 2 armfuls of stuff. You can
Well,
grab
as
from
I
there.
see him, I wouldn't be able to stop a small sob from escaping, you know? And I would probably his jacket is upstairs. Fuck. Okay, well, I would bring him up, but I wouldn't bring him in the castle. I would lay him on the rocks.
Yeah.
And I would go in and get his jacket and lay it over him.
Okay.
And then go in and be like, well, we can take our chances trying to get back to the ship, or we can rest up here, gather ourselves, head back after some sleep.
I think it would be unwise to risk a swim currently. I may
Especially
well
with the turbans.
I may well attract some sharks with the amount of blood that is lingering. Did we find
Yeah.
the wand?
Did I find the wand?
Yeah, it was right
on
next to his body,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. I have it. I will hold it up. Hand it to him, actually.
It's a big thing. You might not be able to even carry it at this point with the blood loss.
I keep hold of it. I don't really want a reminder of what happened right
Sure.
now.
She will hug you.
He waits a few seconds, then pulls away and turns around very quickly.
She absolutely just lets that happen.
I'm like fiddling with a couple of cards in my hand, just spinning them in my fingers. Sitting on the ground, like knees up.
I think at this point, Indira probably has her wits about her the best because she didn't just nearly die. She would prepare a fire, in like just a cozy camp.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't require any sort of checks at all. You can kind of find wherever would be you can deem safest. Snap off parts of the core which you would know are flammable because this is really your kind of domain. Plus tinder boxes that you guys have in your supplies and something, and start setting up a camp. Probably throw together. I mean, there's a lot of fish around that have died, so you can throw together some kind of basic food just so they eat something.
All over the floor, right?
Yeah, they all died. Whoops. So, she kind of makes you camp. Is there anything any of you want to do while you camp, or do you want to just like rest, sleep the night away? Because it's daytime right now.
Absolutely rest.
I feel like it would be a pretty silent camp that night.
Mm-hmm. Can all of you give me perception checks?
Sure.
Oh. It is Vale who notices, kind of going off into a trance very early in the rest, and waking up and probably pacing around because he doesn't want to not be doing anything. You notice where the hall crawler, the lead of those giant undead, rest. Skin has started to regrow where it has been snapped and broken, and the tendons are starting to reform. This is a little bit before midnight, but that thing is regenerating. This is around 5 hours or so into your rest. So you can go, the way rests work, as long as you keep resting within an hour, you're good.
Guys, wake up.
She would wake up and look at you.
Veil points.
You can actually see, like, as the heart beats inside that thing's chest, like, stuff is regrowing.
Indira would not hesitate. She would get up and start dragging it to the fire.
The body?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, it's huge. You have the strength to drag it. You just want to just burn the hell out of it. Okay.
Yes.
Hell yeah. As you do, a lot of you notice, I mean, not so much Gilwyn, who's much more groggy and doesn't exactly know what's going on. When the heart touches the fire and that burns, the heart itself had been wrapped up with its own embalming threads and things. When that burns, the rest of the skeleton completely just falls apart into the fire.
Then she will get the other ones and do the same?
The other ones aren't regenerating in the same way.
Okay. All right, never mind.
There was the one that was resurrecting them.
Actually, you know what? I think that she still would. She wouldn't take her chances. She's not going to lose these dudes.
It's a good idea. Takes a bit of time, means you're going to be resting longer, because then after, doing all of that, because you're strong, they're still huge skeletons that aren't entirely held together. Burn them as best you can. And
then make a new camp for the boys. And let them rest while I'm doing all this.
Exactly. By the time all of you are recovered and have got a sleep to think, and to tend to your most grievous wounds, which are by no means completely healed, but are you're rejuvenated enough to move and continue battling, it would be very early in the next morning. It'd be the kind of thing where there's not sort of wildlife, not even really seagulls, aside from the few that occasionally follow your ship, and seabirds of that side, which you can hear. You can hear the water, but it's very quiet inside such a vast stone structure like this. Quiet and removed.
We have to talk about what we're going to do.
We need to head back to the island with the wand and fix it.
You guys need to rest for a couple of days.
I'm fine to carry on.
Just sailing a ship is a lot of hard work.
I will be fine. Gil?
Well, there's one less pair of hands, so we better get to it. And I'll start walking.
You will need to figure out some sort of way to get to the ship, because now you're on an island above for ship level.
There's no path, path down.
No, it would seem that, I think the only person who would think this through would be Vale, and it would be a couple of days later. It wouldn't even be right now. That, this was an island fortress for giants. So a giant ship would ride much higher in the water, and they would just... But your ship is just smaller.
We need to take his body back to the boat.
I would like to look for a safe place to dive.
Yeah, you found a safe place last time, so you can... You know what you're doing, is the asterisk.
Okay.
But you could always oversee them. Basically give them advantage on the check they're going to have to make.
All right, so what I propose, I can take his body to the ship and come back, and I can assist you in getting down.
I can get down fine on my own.
Just understand that you're very upset, but we can't be rash right now.
I'm not being rash. I am simply telling you that I am fine to climb down a rock.
And you?
Sure.
All right, just be careful, I guess. Dive where I dive if you're going to. And I would pick up Knight's body and jump into the water.
Alright. You don't really need to make any kind of check. You did this yesterday. You can swim back to the ship where it's remained anchored more or less in the right sort of place. Of course, climbing back onto a ship like that while carrying a body is not an easy task, but something that you, with your strength, can do. You two... acrobatics or athletics checks, depending on how you want to do this.
With advantage?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Gilwyn is by no means a diver, but you follow exactly what Indira did. You land pretty well. Of course, it smarts. You are not so physically injured, but you have a bad concussion. Not the best time to be underwater for any period of time. Indira probably will help you get onto the ship when you actually get over there. Vale, you get back before Gilwyn. Again, not the best diver, but you don't dive. You kind of slowly, well, not even that slowly, but make your way down in more leaps and bounds. Probably straining the bandages that are keeping the very bad wound around your side mostly sealed. And I can get back aboard the ship, and you can start making your way towards Beauty's Rest. I'm going to need you all to make me sailing checks. It's going to be harder because you're a man down.
Was I just doing straight dexterity before?
Straight dex or strength for rigging and stuff.
Huh, okay.
Hey.
Nice.
When it comes to the hardest work in Indira and Gil, when you're just doing it, there's no pleasantry, there's no music, there's no singing and joking and stuff like that. You're just making your way towards the island. Now, if you didn't travel to this island several times before, that navigator's check would have been dire. Luckily, you do know where this island is, and when it becomes clear, Indira, that Vale's head just isn't in the game, you can take over. And
I would.
Being a very apt captain, you can easily remember islands and their rough positions, and make your way to the island. It does take you a little longer than necessary, but you come back to the cracked and angled, broken island of Beauty's Rest. You can easily dock instead of in the sort of swampy areas as before. Now you know the layout of the island more. You can dock in an area much closer to the village in the valley.
As we're approaching, I would take the wand to Gil, and I'd be like, I assume you know what you're doing with this, then?
I don't even know if I could carry the thing.
We should probably go and ask Jack what we need to do.
There's also the matter of, do we lay night to rest here? Or is it a burial at sea?
I do not feel that Knight would want a burial at sea myself. And I suppose it would be as nice as we could do to lay him to rest on an island that is called Rest, and I suppose Beauty.
Right. I'll prepare him.
Are
Can
we?
you guys anchor down?
Do you know if I didn't speak to him about this sort of thing? Do you know if he would want to be buried or burnt? My people, we burn ourselves.
We did speak about this once, and he said that he was intrigued by burial at the sea, which is, I just said that that's what I wanted. And he said that he would be fine with it, but this is more for you guys than for him. This is more for us than for him at this point.
Don't care what we do. They will go and start tying up some rigging.
I'll pull one of the 3. I'll make a stack of 3 cards.
Yeah.
And pull one of them. And be like, we're burying him at sea.
Something of note of those cards, no matter what, considering the situation, you'd expect them to be speckled by blood and damaged by the water. They're not. They're perfectly pristine and high quality still. All right. You anchor up the ship. And want to try and... we want to go and see Jack before you do anything else. Dira is sort of preparing the body for a burial at sea when you leave. As best she can, but she's had to bury crew members before. You two can get off.
In case you guys were wondering, she would take one of her fine silks that's hanging on the wall, and she would lay him on a plank and clasp his arms over his sword.
Yeah.
And then shroud him in a silk that suits him.
He looks good in a maroon.
Purple.
Yeah,
A
a
maroon?
maroon or a
All right.
purple. His outfit's kind of a maroon. Cool. You two boys can easily step off onto the island with the wand. Okay, the wand of Borogon is a wand fit for a giant. It is much more of a vast metal staff. But as long as you kind of keep very careful, you can carry it. Maybe even carry it between the two of you if you want to make it easier on yourselves. And can head up to Jack, where Jack sits under the pale, silver-barked, white-leaved tree that looks a little more tattered than the last time you saw it. Jack there, the sort of scarecrow guardian of this place, is still until you kind of linger a little bit, where he kind of moves back into life and looks between you, and you see his mouth open to say something, and he kind of looks between you, and he can just tell that things are horribly wrong, and doesn't say anything.
Gil,
Hmm.
we have been through this a couple times before. He like clonks his side down of the one down and looks at him. He crosses his arms. We've been through this a couple times now. We need to shift this funk that we have here. It is not helpful to anyone, and Knight would not want us to mourn his loss but celebrate his life. I'm sure you agree with me on that one. And, well, I'm sure he would say that his death was just lady luck. Unfortunately, she didn't give him such good luck that day. But he knew what he was signing up for, and so did we. We all damn near lost our lives out there. And we are lucky to have them, and we should be thankful to our friend for letting us keep hold of them. And how we do that is enjoying our life. We are right to mourn our friend, but we can mourn our friend in a way that is celebratory, that is jovial, that embodies all the aspects of Knight's life as we knew him. I never saw the cat being sad. He was always sitting there with that stupid grin on his face, even towards the end. What I'm saying is we should face the future like Knight, with a stupid grin on our face.
Pick up your side. Feel I'm bored. I'm bored of this now.
Bored of what? He'll pick it up.
We came here for me, and Knight essentially died for me. We still don't know where Melody is.
Melody is fine. You and I both know that. And as for Knight dying, you know, I traveled with you. I thought I would protect you and help you. And during that time, I have not been able to protect you from your friends being lost. Knight's death is not on you. At least not on you alone, my friend. I am the one who should have defeated the creature. I should have been more cautious. I should have been able to best it. And that is my fault for not having done so. Knight never boasted that he was an amazing warrior or a powerful magician. I boast that I am an amazing warrior, and I did not kill it.
I like unceremoniously like drop my end and be like, if my skull would have split open instead of giving me this fucking concussion, and I'll like scrape my hair, Indira wouldn't have to fuck around, and you would have killed them. Simple as that. I was floating around like what? Driftwood? That's what I am.
Belle's gonna take a step forward and he like grasps your forearm. Probably not like as you would clasp like that, like literally just. You know, when I started traveling with you, I wanted to be remembered as the last Sun Elf. Now, I would much rather be remembered as the last Sun Elf to have had a brother. I have had a fantastic time with you. I have felt good about my choices. You make me be a better person. And you are a good person. That is what you do. You bring joy and happiness to those around you. And you sit there wallowing in sadness, unaware of the happiness you bring to others.
You should be the bad. I like pull my hand away and pick it back up.
He pick up the other end and continue the march towards Jack.
Jack listens to all of that, and you can tell he has, because he's very obvious when he's not present. His eyes literally light up. And when you come close, he said, perhaps if I may have a word about this situation. Not that I knew your friend very well, but he seemed like... You know why this place exists. The world is full of monsters and horrible creatures and men who are worse than the both above. And if that is the way of the world, then we cannot let something as simple and pure as beauty be forgotten. I think your friend understood that probably better than the rest of you. That's all I have. Put the staff to the tree. That should do the ticket.
I'll start pulling. Prop it up.
This is for you, knight.
Kind of lean the staff against the tree. When you do, that sort of blue light that you saw the last time the staff worked sort of rushes, kind of blusters past all of you, kind of staggering you in your step. You hear this horrible creaking noise of wood and stone and earth creaking and moving. You see the tree rejuvenate to a degree, a little more luster in the whiteness of its leaves. You see the mountains far off to the side being slowly pushed back into the right position. You see the trees that are twisted and splintered slowly get pulled in the right place, and the ground where it would be upturned and damaged if a man was doing this with a shovel would slowly sort of steel itself in proper configuration, and the flowers would start to bloom despite it being quite a cold winter in this sort of place. And over, it would happen in a couple of minutes that would feel like far longer to the two of you watching it. And maybe even Adira if she sees it out of the window down below deck. The island is repaired. And truly just as beautiful as it was in the pictures with your mother.
Jack, I have a request.
I'm all ears.
Henceforth, I would like for you to call this island Night's Rest, as this would not have been possible without his sacrifice.
He nods, which makes a kind of wood scraping on wood noise, a little bit of a hollow noise, and he nods. Now that this place is fixed, Goddess Gira will bring a whole new generation of worthy to Night's Rest.
Thank you. We appreciate it a lot.
Good luck out there, and you're always going to be more than welcome. A group of heroes.
I'll stuff one card in a part of Jack that's a little torn. Thank you.
Thank you. And he kind of he you know gets back into the natural position and kind of like lets his head hang. And the light goes out in his eyes to wait.
Well, Gilwyn Gallowgate, this has been one hell of a saga, has it not?
Yep.
I'm not ready for our story to end just yet.
What's left?
The next chapter. You have a lovely, beautiful, fey lady waiting for you back on the ship. You have probably the most handsome sun elf at your side. And we have a boat. We have freedom. We have our lives, thanks to our friends. They did this because they were our friends. And now we will do this because they were our friends. And this is how we honor them. He's gonna put an arm around your shoulder and give you a squeeze.
It'll be really awkward to try and explain to people that we're brothers.
Well, you know,
Who's
how
the
do
dad? Who's the mum?
what's the word? It was a I think you say metaphor.
Yes, we do say that word.
Yes, so that's what it was.
Hmm.
You know, not to say that I do not feel that way, but
What's
like,
that word? A joke?
oh,
I was telling one of them.
oh, right, yeah, no, you know, you should work on your execution. You know,
Hmm.
You
Oh.
two walk back to the ship, making bad jokes. You get back up. The island just looking resplendent back together as a little pocket of nature. And you can move on to what's next.
I presume like we'd send off Night in like a little boat together.
Well, that's what would you guys do?
All
Doxy
right,
being
so
the
when
pirate.
Yeah, when you guys get back to the ship, you see that Indira has like brushed all the blood out of his fur, made him look nice, and she's wrapping him, and you see the sword clasped under his arms, and she's like, "I didn't mean for you to see. I tried to be faster. I'm sorry."
No,
Sorry.
I would rather say goodbye face to face.
She'll place a hand down on Knight's chest and like indicate to you two.
Vale's gonna reach into like his backpack and he rummages around for bringing out a clasped hand and placing it on Knight.
I'll just like pat one of his wrists or his hands and just say, "Thank you very much."
Indira then she'll be like, right, well, I want to say a few things. If you guys want to say a few things, I think that now is a good time. Just I want us all to do Knight the honor of remembering Luck, right? It's this stings. It hurts really bad, but over time with Luck, the sting will wane. Right now, we need to remember that we were lucky to have known him at all, let alone know him while his life was cut short.
Vales opens his hand and places upon his chest his set of dice, and then moves and pops pops Knight's hand over it. Something to play in the afterlife, seeing as you lost your deck of cards. Maybe you can scam some more people. It was nice to have another swordsman in the group, even for a little while.
I'll retrieve from my pouch the frog tongue in my vial and cast light on it and say it gets dark underwater, I'm pretty sure. And like pop it on his chest as well.
She'll close the shroud. And she'll say, all right, anchors away. When we get far enough, we'll let him go.
And you do. Standing on the edge of the deck. Straight up, just lower him into the water, isn't it? You see the light.
Not like just shoving it off,
exactly.
like
Yeah, with the winches. You see the light get smaller and smaller down below the water until there's not a lot but the stars above lighting the way.
You did take the rapier, right? And like I wryly grin at Indira.
Buried him with it.
But it's better than mine.
Should have let me know you wanted a trade.
Lathander, please guide our friend to his lady luck and protect him from thieving sods like Gilwyn. Now, I believe we have a barrel of dwarven grog. No?
I could use
Half a
drinking
barrel.
can.
Once they all got drinks, Thea would raise a mug. Tonight.
Tonight. Gil
All
would
right.
play us something. Drinks.
Yep. As you sort of celebrate the night away, unless there's anything else you want to do tonight. Question becomes, what's next? Like you said, you have a ship, you have a pirate, the last sun elf, and a musician on a ship.
I'm
We have to take
underqualified.
stuff back to the mermaids.
Mm-hmm. That would be your first little journey. We're going to kind of fly by things quite a bit.
Yeah.
You zip your way. Well, actually, it's not even. It's a bit of a slow amble back to Tran to give gifts back to the mermaids, which are given
Feed the poor.
in thanks, and feed the poor with the fish and all that sort of thing. And keep an ear to the ground about what might be going around in your favored land. Asking questions about a friend or two and an enemy or two, and finding maybe one or two answers.
Indira would probably talk to, oh golly, her name. Hold on. I have it. I do. Lady Belvier.
Mm-hmm.
And she would be just reminiscing with her and be like, oh, there was a time, me and Serena, we drowned a slave owner on Shorebo, blah, blah, blah.
She will... She's pretty glad for the chat. You probably spend quite a few days while you're there talking about it. And she does ask, like, where is Serena now?
I haven't seen her. Kind of a while. Miss her.
I hear that Shorebo's not all the better for the drowning you gave it.
I beg your pardon? I drowned the slave master.
The slave master had a wife. A wife who handles magic.
Oh, he surely didn't act like he had a wife.
That's what I've been told.
Interesting. I think I have a new errand, if you'll excuse me. Enjoy the painting.
I will.
I'd get back to the ship and I'd be like, boys, you know where we're going.
Do you?
I do. Have you ever heard of Shorebo?
No.
I have unfinished business on the Isle of Shorebo.
Ah, okay. I see. So,
Would you accompany me?
correct me if I'm wrong, but you wish to charter mine and Gilwyn's services, no?
Correct.
Well then,
If you'll
Gilwyn.
accompany me.
You know, it is not cheap to hire a sun elf or a musician, a Gallogher no less. Oh, well, how much do you think, Gil?
Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of gold.
Well, you know, you heard the man, and it's impossible to change his mind once he's set. So stubborn, these humans.
Yeah. Indira will then put her forehead against Gil's forehead, and she'll be like, "You guys can keep all the treasure you find between yourselves. I won't take a bit of it."
I like brush my forehead away and be like, "Thank you."
All right. So, shall we?
But first, would you perhaps want to prepare?
Yes, I currently have no weapons other than a couple of daggers. Don't get me wrong, I could probably still beat you both with them, but you know.
Wait, what?
Yes, he touches the what? Well, it probably wouldn't even be a proper scar yet, like the healing wound, like that slashed right across him.
And there's straight up just a hole in his clothes. He'd probably be wearing more casual clothes because of the armor being broken to a degree.
What was that thing? Hole crawler? It
No.
laid me with a good heavy hit, and it cut through some of the straps, and I lost the grip on my sword, and unfortunately my bow as well went down.
I think it's time that my axe matches my own rage.
It doesn't matter anyway. We were lucky to escape with our lives, as I said.
Yeah, but I bought that sword.
Yes. I'm sorry, Gil. I couldn't. As soon as I went down, I was, lucky that I carried on breathing, really, with all the water, and I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. I'm sorry for you.
Well, I didn't lose my greatest treasure of all.
Indira.
No, I'm talking about Ines. that was some good humor. I think I have mastered this human, how you say, dirty joke, no?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you actually can buy some... I mean, Tran is a mercantile sea state. You could buy a lot of weapons here. When it comes to enchanting, Duxie, you kept saying, "Oh, let's see the mermaids." Mermaids don't have the right kind of magic for enchantment. Mermaids are a nomadic race. Enchantment needs a bit more of a setup, a bit more arcane magic. When with mermaids have magic, of course, there's the odd situations out like you who just have magic. But most of the time, it's sort of much more nature-based, which doesn't do best for enchanting. Although you do know, a place you would have been before, but when you were not quite as strong, maybe with Serena, is the Triton city of Akneen, which is a ways to the north, might be around a month of travel, depending on the weather. But they are welcoming to you, which is Tritons are rarely welcoming to outsiders. And they have enchanting. It would cost quite a bit of gold, but if you have the gold to spend, you could spend it on an enchantment.
Yeah, I would absolutely approach somebody and see what it would cost me and how much time it would take to enchant my great axe.
If you go all the way out there, if you want to go all the way to the Triton City, I would very much like to explore it with a lot of you. So sailing your way out there to get new equipment or anything. Would you get any equipment here in Tron before you leave Vale?
So Vale's like...
Because Vale needs a whole repertoire of stuff again.
Indira would also get health pots before leaving.
Yeah, they're 50 gold each.
Okay.
Vale's like... Triton City, and what sort of metal do they make their blades out of? And how do they temper the blade? And like basically, you get the idea that he's not all that comfortable with the idea of these
sea elves.
How can they make metal underwater? Basically, yeah, they're probably terrible smiths. So he clearly is like not that trusting of it. So he would, being aware that Tran is a boiling pot of various cultures, attempt to go and look for... I mean, not only does he want like primo craftsmanship, he had a comet blade, dude. That's perfect for like a duelist, right? You know, like this is made from the sun. You know, they're the same place though, right? Like literally, they're next to each other, just at different times. So like, basically, it's a holy weapon.
Yeah.
My point is, he needs something exotic for a story.
Well, from regular stuff, if you just want to like buy a couple of short swords and maybe a new bow, you can just do that. If you want to spend a week or so in Tron, which kind of would be what I'd imagine you'd do anyway, just because you're like, okay, let's settle on ground for a bit, maybe earn a little bit of pocket money in a tavern, stuck up for a long journey.
I'd also pay to get the armor mended.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to give me an investigation check to see if you can find anything interesting, perhaps magical, or very just exotic, feel free. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I need to buy some basic bits. And then... Sorry, what role was that? It was...
Investigation. The usual kind of go around a city, look for the best deal, look for the best place to find. Yeah.
Watch me roll trash.
Yeah, it's not great. You really don't find anything that tickles your fancy when it comes to exotic. I imagine Gilwyn at one point would be the kind of like, well, you can't go out looking for something like that. It has to find you.
I'd definitely be accompanying him all the time.
Yeah, while
when
being
shopping.
a little shit talky. Do you want to give me an investigation check, Gilwyn, to see if you find anything interesting while you're shopping around?
Oh yeah.
Real quick, Ollie, is it okay if I just grab 3 healing
Yeah.
potions?
Yeah, you're spending time in the city. Regular healing potions in Tron are quite easy to come by. There's a mages guild that can make them and stuff. I love that you got a good roll because I exactly know what would have happened. I'm just trying to see if I can find, something that would...
Yes, but you wouldn't have found this street without me leading us down this way.
Well, you can say what you want, but I'm just better at shopping than you are.
Well, be that as it may,
Oh no, Vale. Please don't tell me you lost the gun.
It was on a strap around my chest. Please do not make this worse than it is. It's gone, Gilwyn. I still have the ammo as well. I still have the cartridges, but they are useless. Do you realize the sort of impotent rage that flows through me because of this? It would have been better to have it all gone, out of mind, out of sight. But now I cannot throw them away.
Well, we can trade, and I'll pull out my gem gun that I've got and pass it to Vale.
It's a little bit.
I'm shit with it.
Yes, but it's not really my style. It's a bit, more like you,
No.
You know, it's a bit. It's like
Like stood in the middle of the street bickering.
it's like how do I say? The gun is it is small and noodly, like your arms, and yet it is also quite flashy because of the gem, kind of like your magics. Yet overall, it maintains a sort of, you know, it doesn't quite function well, but it gets by. But there's a chance of everything going catastrophically with it, you know.
Wow.
Yes, you know. Now you see this gun is the perfect metaphor for you, and
Metaphor. Nice.
and
He's
so
doing it, everyone. He's doing metaphors. He's doing it.
and so to take it away from you would be taking away part of what you are.
Well, in that case, I will hold on to Gem.
Oh, you named it.
Just
and you
this
called
second.
You called it Gem as well.
So, in shopping around, Vale is looking around in like straight up weapon shops, you know, as well as like elven expats who might be selling, you know, the occasional elvish weaponry. You go around to like antique stores and things, the kind of place where you're going to find mostly tat, but occasionally, you know, people leave things that are much stronger magically than that. And you find a blade that seems wood elven. A very sort of primal magic is in it that you can tell, Gilwin. During this whole like extra part of the adventure, especially with Solmander in your hands, starting to actually understand magic, it's just coming a lot more naturally to you.
Yeah.
This what was the Comet Blade? Was that a short sword?
The Comet Blade was a short sword.
This short sword.
Now Ollie tells it to us, and we go back and get the Comet Blade. Like it.
The short sword, it appears to be made of a sort of wood and has these sort of autumnal leaves sprouting from the crossguard and the hilt. There's a sort of swirling pattern from it, and a kind of almost onyxy tip to the edge of the edges of the blade. You could tell there's magic inside it. The person is selling it just as a sort of decoration piece, which it is very beautiful. You know, it's got a bit more of a curve to it and a bit longer than the Comet Blade was, as much more of a sort of gladius sort of thing. And it costs 350 gold.
350? Boy, oh boy, that's a steal. But it's not enough of a steal. You know, no one is going to buy this out here. They're not familiar with the type of leaves on the hilt. Everyone around here would want a decorative palm frond. You know, but I'm from the mainland. And so I do like this. So I'm willing to pay a fair amount. So I would suggest 300 gold.
Persuasion roll. The elf kind of hard running the store kind of like checks their book and 340 is as low as we're willing to go.
Okay, 335.
340.
I mean, 335 is basically 340. You know, we are both elven. We are both willing to sit here and haggle for quite a long time. You know, really quite a long time, actually.
I'm willing to wait.
Okay.
Just buy it. I say from behind you.
What if? What if my friend here sings you a song
No.
for 5 gold?
No.
No?
Is he of any note? Can he sing any of the classics?
That makes my ears prick up.
Oh, there we go.
Well.
This is Gilwin Gallowgear. Even you must have heard of the Gallowgears, no?
Yeah, the name rings a bell.
A bell. It rings a bell, Vil. Shopkeeper. Like, put my hands on the counter. I don't want to play a song. Please just sell him it for 340 so we can leave.
Why? Fine, 340. Fine. Honestly.
Ching.
All you had to do was play a song. How is that difficult?
It's 5 gold, man.
Yes, but I had 605 gold. It would have brought me to a nice even number.
Yeah. That's a shame. I really would have quite liked to hear your rendition of the Wildflower King, but I suppose. There you go. The Autumn Blade for you.
The Autumn... Oh, that is a nice name. I like that. You see? He said it is called the Autumn Blade. What does it... Oh, right. Yes, it will be great on my mantelpiece.
You like walk outside like... Considering you're going to be at sea for a long time, not really fighting anything, I will tell you what this sword does. Not only is it magical, so it goes past bypasses magical immunity. It has the ability to summon a cascade of falling leaves and cover. It has 1d6. Well, it has 6 charges, and when you plant it in the ground, it creates a 10-feet aura of half cover of falling leaves and sort of distraction, and it just uses a charge every turn.
Okay. And it's a standard short sword, but with magical bypass.
You may be able to upgrade it further when you go to Acnine, which is the next leg of the journey. You sail up north, having to witness a lot of experiments with Vale plunging the blade into the ground and making leaves go all over the place.
I'm envious. I wanted one as well.
Oh. At some point, while they're out on the high seas, like just while like Vale's navigating, Indira's on the helm, he steps up a little bit closer to Indira. You know, Gilwin wants gold, but and he leans forward and whispers something in Indira's ear, which I will tell Doxy.
Oh no! Oh no! Big oof, I think, incoming.
Nah.
Meanwhile, Gilwin is like polishing his banjo.
I'm probably just looking over the edge of the boat. The ship, sorry. I know some people are picky about their descriptors.
Yeah, I definitely do make a face when a character tries to do some persuasion bullshit, and, like, I know I have to let them have a chance to succeed.
To which Indira replies out loud, well, he's always had those.
He wanders off at that point.
Okay.
Looking pleased with himself.
And we'll leave that mystery as you go off further off into the north. Around Tran, there's all these tropical islands that sort of trade with each other. When you get this far north, you occasionally see little islands, but they don't have any sort of civilization on them. If they do, maybe they have kobolds and wild boars. Not really what most people would call civilization. When you get to Acnine and sort of anchor yourselves up, there's nothing there at the surface. You get Gilwin to cast water breathing on you, and you go under. You go under the water, you see that Acnine is a Triton castle, city-state, with this sort of castle that, at the bottom of the sea, built around geothermal vents that sort of billow up warmth and sort of these this hazy water around the castle. The castle Vale is vaguely familiar. It does have elven architecture, at least in some ways. Sort of similar to Sun Elven, although a lot more smooth, a lot of sort of arching, and sort of like, why is there an arch, like a looping arch there? That no structural significance at all. It's purely for design purposes. What's the point of that? Can you give me a history check with advantage, Mr. Vale?
I can. Can I also ask, while we're the Autumn Blade, does it do that as an action or a bonus action?
Ooh. An action.
I thought so.
Yeah. It actually reminds you of pictures you've seen in books of Moon Elf architecture, particularly of the Moon Elf Palace in Velheim. When you get to Acneen, there's no like castle town or anything. The entire town, as Indira will explain, is below in underwater caverns and stuff where the castle keeps everyone safe. Usually they're not very comfortable with outsiders, but as soon as Triton guards come up on giant seahorse with pikes in hand and they see it's Indira, they're like, "Oh, Indira, we haven't seen any travel of you for such a long time. Please." And you are welcomed with open arms into the underwater city of Acneen, where you can, check in with everyone and what's going on. They are quite glad to see a genuine, bona fide elf. They will ask Vale what's going on in the in their lands and things like that. They treat Vale a bit like a celebrity, which Indira knows just because the sea elves, these kind of Triton who are called sea wise, who are mostly called sea elves, they really respect elven kind for a multitude of reasons. They continue to ask Vale about like battles and combat prowess, which is exactly the ego touching thing that Vale gives, and he's probably doing like little displays in a circle somewhere to like Triton knights and children and such. And this city appears to have a culture of knights and paladins, and is quite welcoming as well to especially women folk from other cultures and children. When it comes to getting your your axe head enchanted, Indira, it'll be 1,000 gold and a week of time, which is the week of time is not really.
There's one other thing that I want to look for. I'm gonna type it to you. Okay.
Okay. In Discord.
I really wanted to say something there, but it was not appropriate.
Type it to me in secret so no one else on the stream can understand.
Ooh, that would be like, you could easily spend 200 gold on that.
Okay.
Depends how much cash you want to flash.
The
all
best
way around.
that she can find.
Okay. Well, why don't we take a real quick break while those things happen? I was just into the,
Oh no,
the other thing.
I agree.
And we'll be back in a couple of minutes.